To all those martial arts and action film fans, this review is actually dedicated specifically for you. And with that, I'm welcoming you to another episode of The Road Mentor, where my goal, as always, is to enhance your movie watching experience. So, Headshot. This is a movie which debuted in a lot of the film festivals last year as an action martial arts film from Indonesia, which was supposed to be in the same vein as my favorite action films in the last 20 years, The Raid and The Raid 2. And so I was really excited to see these. I finally caught this a couple weeks ago. I haven't got a chance to review it. I wasn't sure if it was going to get released wide here or not. And it looks like it's not going to be released wide in the States. But it is out already. I noticed you get it on the internet, you get it on Amazon, you can rent it right now and all that. And the reason I was excited not just because it was in the vein of The Raid and Raid 2. The two directors that worked on this worked a little bit on those particular movies, and you can tell and the way that they shot this movie. But also starred Iko Uwais, if I'm not mispronouncing it. He's obviously the star of both The Raid and The Raid 2. So Headshot is basically about Iko's character who washes up on shore one day. He was shot in the head. He's in a coma for a couple of months, and he wakes up with amnesia. It sounds very similar. I like Jason Bourne. We've seen this 1,000 times before, and in terms of the overall story, there's nothing new here. He's kind of nursed back to health by this particular, a doctor who he ends up, they really don't explore that side of it, but he obviously, there's a fondness between both of them. And one day he realizes who he actually is and what he used to be, and little by little it's kind of piecing that together. And of course, this organization who he used to work for finds out he's alive and not dead as they initially thought. They go after him, and they make the huge mistake of kidnapping the nurse who helped him out in the beginning, which we all know you just don't mess with another guy's love interest, particularly one that's skilled and talented as Mr. Uwais clearly is. Now, overall, I gotta say, I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't great. It didn't reach the heights that either one of the Raids did, and I didn't really expect it to, but I wanted something kind of comparable to that. On the plus side, it's very graphic in nature, and that's really well done. I like that. It's cool. For those bloodthirsty people like myself out there, this definitely has enough of it. The action scenes were well done, very creatively shot, much in the vein of what Gareth Evans did in the first couple of Raids, and these directors who I understand, helped out a little bit in those movies. You can tell they kind of took some of the same philosophy as in terms of the long shots, the long turning pan shots. Some of the cinematography is very similar. Some of the camera work which follows some of the action is very interesting. But again, the fights themselves were good and they were fine. They were entertaining. It just didn't reach those heights, those scenes that you remember for weeks to come. I still remember some of the scenes in The Raid which are phenomenal. This one had good scenes that just weren't great. The choreography just wasn't there. They didn't have the oomph that you kind of want in a movie like this. But again, I would still recommend it. It's still a decent movie enough to watch and be entertained. You can download it. Amazon's probably like $5 or $6 to download it for that price. It's well worth it, particularly if you are into martial arts. Iko Uwais, he's so talented. He may not have the physical gifts that like a Tony Jaa does, but overall I think he's a better performer in terms of the acting and the physicality involved. I hope he gets more work. We saw him a little bit in Star Wars, The Force Awakens. He was kind of wasted in those movies, but hopefully we see him down the road. Hopefully in The Raid 3, which I'm hoping that comes out pretty soon. But again, it was fine. It has some interesting baddies. It's some pacing problems, but it's still fun enough. It's still gory. It has some good action. It has those heightened moments when the fighting, and then boom, something happens where the kind of the final blows, if we will, like a finish him kind of situation that happens in these particular movies, and that was fine. If you're a fan of the martial arts, you're a fan of action films, I definitely recommend this one. Check it out. This is a very little known movie, but sometimes those little known movies usually end up being some of the more entertaining ones. So again, if you enjoyed the Raid movies, you're going to enjoy this for the most part. And again, if you do see it, let me know. Comment below as always. Let me know what you think about it. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed my need to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.